Welcome to the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast. My name is Katie Dodd, and I am a nutrition entrepreneur. But here's the catch. I have a full-time traditional dietitian job. My entrepreneurial endeavors are my side hustle. I've been making six figures through my job and side hustle doing things that I love. If I can do it, you can too. This podcast is for dietitians, interns, and students who want to be inspired to start or perfect the side hustle of their dreams. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to the 47th episode of the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast, Direct Sales and Supplements. Today I will be interviewing Angela Lago. Angela is a dietitian, blogger, and consultant for Amari Global, the mental wellness company. Through her own brand, the Mental Wellness Dietitian, Angela helps women who feel burnt out say goodbye to anxiety, brain fog, fatigue, using gut healing nutrition and supplements. Angela is also a student in our very own Blogging Accelerator Program, and she has been crushing it. She has been consistently posting on her blog every month since she joined the first cohort, and I am just so excited to have Angela here on the podcast. Welcome, Angela. Would you like to share a few words before we get started?
Sure. Thanks so much, Katie, for having me. I'm super excited to be here with you today, and I really look forward to just sharing my experience with direct sales and supplements with your audience.
Awesome. So let's dive in. Let's first, if you could tell me a little bit more about what you do and how you got started with direct sales.
Sure. So I have been a registered dietitian for 20 years. My entire career has actually been in clinical nutrition, with the last 10 years in clinical nutrition management. So I manage currently a team of 19 dietitians in a large medical center here in my hometown. So it's really interesting how I got started in direct sales, because I've basically been a pretty big critic of network marketing for most of my adult life. I just have never liked being, sold to and having that feeling of being sold to. And I have since learned that what really turned me off was the old school method of network marketing. So, the hey girl messages, the cold calling, and,
Yes.
Just people reaching out to you that you haven't heard from in years saying like, you look so awesome. It's great to see you. By the way, would you like to start selling products with me? And, I really found that there's a totally different way to do it that feels much more genuine. So, to give you a little backstory on how I really got started, specifically in the gut health and mental wellness space, is through my own struggles. So many people have mental wellness struggles, and I have not typically, throughout my whole life had struggles in this area. But as an adult, I found myself dealing with failed marriage to the father of my children. I found myself, with various stressors that go along with that, being a single mom, and just the whole scenario, as many of your listeners I'm sure can relate to, is just very, very stressful. So I won't go into all the details of that here, but I do share a lot of my personal life and details on my, social media and with my followers. So if anyone's interested in that, they can follow along there. But basically over time, this chronic stress really took a toll on me. And I ended up dealing with anxiety, depression, chronic anxiety, insomnia, and just, a really hard time being motivated to do anything. And I'm a really high achiever, so people on the outside couldn't really see that, but it was all happening on the inside, and my family knew. So you can probably, relate to that or know someone that's similar.
Yeah.
So, eventually in 2019, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. And this was just a huge wake-up call for me, because I'm a dietitian. I was otherwise, just very healthy, and it was just a wake-up call, like I said. So I still really feel like my chronic stress is what caused or triggered my autoimmune disorder. But, it really led me to the point to where I set out on a journey to improve my health and to find natural solutions. I was on 4 prescriptions, and I still felt terrible. And anyone with thyroid a thyroid disorder can tell you. It's almost like a silent illness because you're feeling all these symptoms, your labs can be fine, and you still feel like you're falling apart. So that is what led me to Amare. And I started taking their supplements, which are all focused around the gut-brain axis. And it really caught my interest because I could tell that I was starting to feel better and normal again. And so I started learning about the microbiome, the connection between your gut and your brain, and really fell in love with the products. So naturally, over time, I started paying more attention to the culture of the company, to the leaders, to the science behind the products. And then, once I came to terms with that and had some of my, research-based dietitians look into it as well for me, I knew that I had to share the products. I knew that there were other people out there that were praying for the relief that I had found. And so the rest is kind of history, as I almost kind of stumbled into it by way of, helping myself and then feeling a large, drive to help other people.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. I've written down a couple of notes. I was actually digging around for a pen, finally found a pen, and it is dead. But that's okay. I can remember some of the things that you said. And some of the things that stood out to me is when you're first talking about like sales and how I think we all have that experience with like sleazy salespeople where it just doesn't feel genuine or like, oh, I don't want to be like that. But then it's the reminder that that's not what selling should look like. That's people who are doing that. They're trying their best, that they think that's what they're supposed to do. I actually have someone right now who drops into my DMs a lot and sends those messages to me because they're in direct sales too, but they're not really doing it in a genuine way. But I just have some grace for them. I'm like, oh, you're trying hard, but no, thank you. But one of my business coaches, he always says selling is helping. And if you have found something that will legitimately help people, he says it is your moral obligation to sell to them. And I love that perspective. And it's really helped me with selling too, because I realized like, no, it's not sleazy. It's actually helping people. And so I really love that you said that. And I also like that you share your story. I think there is so much value when we take down the veil of like, okay, on the outside, life looks perfect. But when we actually take down that veil and say like, hey, here's actually what I'm going through and how life is. So I love that you share that with your audience, because I think we need more and more in that. More of that, because even like you said, people listening, we all have our own struggles, whether we talk about it or not. And then the last thing is like, and I think I've told you this before, but I have Hashimoto's too, so I feel you completely on the struggle. And actually, one more thing I just want to say before we go on, I actually so after I met Angela and she was in the Blogging Accelerator Program, I ended up connecting with her like, hey, tell me more about this, Amare supplements. And I actually am a customer now, and I take these supplements myself.
Yes, you are.
And yes. And I just want to say that because Angela, she didn't come at me and sell. She wasn't like, hey, Katie, how are you doing today? I got this cool supplement for you. Like It was genuine. And as I learned more about what she was doing through her blog, I'm like, wow, this is so cool. Especially like, I'm still so fascinated about all the science behind like the gut-brain axis that, we reached out and we had a conversation, and I started taking these supplements, and it wasn't sleazy in any way, and it was beneficial. So so I guess I'm just sharing that, and also encouraging anyone out there who wants to get into direct sales and you're worried so much about like, oh, I'm not going to be good at selling. But if you come at it from a genuine place, you truly can help people. And what better way than to help people and make income at the same time? So
exactly.
So awesome. So I know that you are working specifically with Amare, but could you share some examples of other types of direct sales that dietitians might want to get involved in or could get involved in?
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, there's really so many opportunities. It's pretty much endless, and it really depends on where your interest lies. So, and even just thinking about your Blogging Accelerator Program, I know we have dietitians in there, at least one that I know of specifically that's with Beauty Counter.
Yep.
I know we have a dietitian that's in the CBD industry. I'm sure there's dietitians in Pampered Chef and all of the network marketing companies. And I think the thing that's really important is finding something that you're passionate about, that you're willing to put yourself out there about and share and serve people. So, I personally personally love being in the nutraceutical space because I feel that we as dietitians are uniquely positioned to really understand it much better than most people that are actually in the space. And so, we understand the research, we understand, the importance of products being scientifically proven to be effective. The value of third-party testing, quality controls, all of those things are really important to understand. And I think dietitians really get it. And I think many times dietitians shy away from this area, but I really think that we're missing a huge opportunity by doing that.
Yeah, 100%. I think that was really helpful. And actually, I just kind of laughing for those of you who are listening on the podcast, I know you can't see me, but if you go to my YouTube channel, dietitiansidehustle.com, you can see that I'm actually holding up a little tube of hand cream from Beauty Counter from Grace, and then also a little bottle of supplements from Amare. So it's like, yes. I know all these companies, but I also know of another dietitian who sells Rodent and Field. So the skincare, because, this passion of how can we combine nutrition, what we put in our bodies, and then also, skincare products for the health of our skin. So I think this is a good reminder that yes, we're dietitians, but what are some other things you're passionate about that you can tie in? Like if you love cooking, Pampered Chef, if you love, like all natural products, if you love like the supplements or that, it's a cool way that you can combine your passion with dietetics.
Yes. And I know Grace, you mentioned Grace, and that's specifically who I was thinking about with Beauty Counter. She's really into non-toxic living, which I think, goes beautifully with being a registered dietitian. And I've actually backlinked her on one of my blogs before around that. But yeah, the opportunities are endless. It's just being willing to do it and doing it scared, doing it uncomfortable, doing it when you don't really feel like you know what you're doing, just taking action anyway.
Yes, imperfect action. Absolutely. Yes. I am a big fan of that because the truth of the matter is everyone who starts something new is a little scared, and the only way we get better is by starting and continuing to do over and over again. And failure, if you experience failure, is not a bad thing. It is actually a good thing because it means you've started and you're trying. So awesome. So my next question for you would be kind of in line with what we've been talking about, but what are some of the benefits for dietitians, particularly dietitian side hustlers, for getting involved with direct sales?
Yeah. So, network marketing can be very profitable. It's important to be with the right company and to be committed to the process because like blogging, it's something that you work harder on the front end and you feel the benefit on the back end. So, you have to be committed to the long-term process and, it can be very profitable. And as we know, unfortunately, dietitians are not generally compensated the way that we should be. And hopefully that will change. But it's also been my experience with my particular company that I've received a ton of business and marketing training for free. So that's something else that I think many people overlook with direct sales and network marketing companies because you're getting trained. And, as dietitians, we don't get this type of training in college. And this is I'm talking about the type of training that I would not even be able to afford right now if I was paying for it. So you're not going to get that with all companies, but some companies, especially companies that have not reached the legacy phase yet, companies that are still having massive growth, that are really nicely positioned financially and have great compensation plans. There's really a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love that you brought up that part about training and just all those business skills you're getting, because that can translate into so many different things that you can do as a dietitian. Yeah. So, I'm a big fan of having multiple streams of income. So even if you get started in direct marketing or direct sales, you're learning all these skills that can translate to, hey, I want to see patients. Well, gosh, I've just learned all these incredible business skills that will benefit me because, when it comes down to it, a lot of these business marketing sales skills, they translate across platforms platforms and areas. So that's actually, that's something really good I had never considered. I will say one of the things that I like about direct sales is that it's a lot of the work is done for you. You're not having to create a product or create a system. Like it's already out there. They're already doing the thing. You're just connecting point A to point B. And so I think it's really good for people just getting started too, who feel like, man, I want to do something, but I'm just not sure what yet. And I don't have time to build out something. So yeah.
I mean, there's no overhead.
Yep.
There's no inventory, at least in the way that my company is. There's tons of innovation and research that you're not even having to do yourself. So yeah, it's kind of a win-win as long as you're willing to get over your preconceived thoughts about direct sales and network marketing.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to kind of shift gears a little bit now and talk specifically about supplements. So I know that Amare is a mental wellness company and, really focuses on like the big picture of, it's not just like, oh, I'm going to go buy my supplements, but I know part of what they sell are supplements. So a lot of dietitians that I've talked to, they've expressed interest in selling supplements, but then they worry a little bit about like the ethical implications and they aren't even sure, am I allowed to sell supplements? So would you be able to address this concern and maybe talk about some best practices on how to do this?
Sure. So, and Katie, I realize this is a really huge issue with dietitians. I can't even count the amount of dietitians that have reached out to me interested, but then when they realize it's a network marketing company or that you're selling supplements, they basically just disappear. Yeah. So I realize it's an issue. And I honestly think that we need to get over that. And here's the thing. One of the most common things I hear from new wellness partners that are joining my team is, like we were saying, they don't want to feel salesy. And so my answer to that is simple. If you don't want to feel salesy, like, don't be salesy. Be genuine. Don't help people that don't need to be helped. Yep. Don't cold call people that are not reaching out to you, sending hey girl messages. And I mean, the same goes for the ethical dilemma that so many, dietitians have. And it, don't practice in a way that's unethical, whether you're in a private practice, whether you're in a healthcare setting, a fitness center setting, or if you are on the side selling supplements. Act and practice ethically and with integrity. And, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics has a code of ethics that outlines these principles and ethical standards that we are required to follow. And I actually think that is a benefit for dietitians in this space, because I have said that before. And you may have even heard me say this on social media before, is like, you can trust what I'm saying because I'm ethically bound to tell you the truth. Like, my license is on the line if I'm not being honest. So that's something that a lot of people can't say, that dietitians can say. So the code of ethics, it's on the Academy's website, eatright.org or eatrightpro.org. Is, in short, there's 4 principles that are outlined. One is competence. The second one's integrity, professionalism, and then number 4 is social responsibility. So, ethical business practices, limiting the products that you sell to products that are peer reviewed in the literature, or, other sources of scientific review of efficacy that are unbiased, sound, systematic, and reliable. I'm reading that directly from the Code of Ethics. Keep the client's best interest in mind. And I mean, I think I may have heard you say this before. It's people over profit. It's all about the people. And I think as long as dietitians are acting within the scope of practice, within their knowledge base, with skill and judgment, practicing ethically and following the Code of Ethics, then there's nothing to be worried about, whether you're selling supplements or doing anything else within the field. So there's also the Journal of Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics has a document titled Guidance Regarding the Recommendation and Sale of Dietary Supplements. If anyone's interested, they can look that up as well. So this has been addressed, and there is an appropriate way to do it. If you're worried about the ethical implications, you just need to read it and make sure that you are going about it ethically.
Yeah, Yeah. And I love that you're sharing that document. I do a lot of presentations on ethics because I don't talk about it a lot on this podcast, but I'm very passionate about ethics. I'm one of those people who nerd out. I'm like, ethics is fun, where most people are like, oh, great, I got to do another ethics course. But I do mention that that paper a lot because I don't think I ever give an ethics presentation without a question coming up about supplements. And a lot of it, it's a great paper. Absolutely read it. You can, Google to find it too, or reach out to me or Angela, we'll get it for you.
Right.
But a lot of it is about disclosure. And there's a lot of different things that, just make sure that you're doing these things, you're fine. And one thing that I kind of want to add about that is I think that we all have our own set of values and principles and things that we're passionate and not passionate about. And so if selling supplements is not within something you want to do, that's fine. You don't have to do it. But if it's something you want to do, that's fine too. So I kind of say that also because I just want to encourage people to be aware to not be critical or judge other dietitians who are doing something that you would not do. As long as you're doing it in an ethical manner and, as long as it's within their value system, that is perfectly fine. We should be building up and supporting each other and not criticizing someone because they're doing something that we wouldn't want to do. Like, you don't have to do this, but if you see someone else doing it, like, it's okay. It's okay. So anyways, I just get that out.
It's really good to hear you say that because there's a particular Facebook group that I have posted in several times, and a same person will put, like, network marketing, beware. And it's just like, really? I mean, and that just tells me that it's a lack of knowledge on that dietitian's part. Which is unfortunate, but hopefully that will change. But I do appreciate the sentiment behind what you said is, supporting each other. Like, I'm not into skincare. I'm really bad at skincare actually, which will probably change with age, but I'm like all for my friends or fellow dietitians that are into skincare. I mean, they're being entrepreneurial and putting themselves out there. And I think we should support each other for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And kind of along that vein, like, I'm a big fan of having dietitians in direct marketing because how many people are out there doing this with no education and knowledge? I mean, why not have dietitians out there who can like peel back the stuff that's like not legit and share the correct, education and knowledge. So anyways, right. I'm always a bigger fan of having the dietitians in the system, criticizing the system. So
yes, I mean, and I think if people are going to be selling supplements, not to say that other people can't, I mean, why not have that be dietitians?
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
I agree completely. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for addressing that. I think I hope that was really helpful for, having this little bit of conversation and kind of addressing this piece, especially for those of you listening who are like, oh man, I wanted to do this, but I didn't think I could. And go find that little paper that Angela's talking about, dig into it. And if it's something you're passionate about, it's fine. Just make sure that you're doing it within the guidelines and ethical recommendations and you're good to go. So let's shift gears a little bit. And so I know we met each other last year when you joined the Blogging Accelerator Program. And I've just been so impressed on how you've been able to combine both blogging and direct sales, because again, I love multiple streams of income. So I just think it's so cool. So I've also been excited because you've recently shared how you've seen like your website starting to pick up traffic. It's actually starting, to pull up on Google, which is, that's the goal of blogging, long-term game. But when it hits that point, it's like so exciting. So can you update our listeners kind of a little bit on why you started your blog and how it's going?
Sure. So and honestly, when I first ventured into network marketing, I felt like I was sharing so much great free information on social media. So, and as we all know, when you post things on social media, they're there for a very short period of time and then no one really sees them anymore. It's like it has a very short life. So initially, I wanted a place to house all of the information that I was sharing so I could direct other people to that source. But after taking your course, I realized how much more potential is out there in the blogging space that, I honestly just did not know about. So, especially by blogging or by way of blogging as a business to make additional income. So that really changed my view from just having a website to kind of like house my documents to really creating material that was going to be searchable on Google and have hopefully one day soon, in the next year maybe, ad revenue on my blog. So, kind of an update is I just last month published my 8th blog, and I feel like it's going very well. You're telling me it's going well, so I trust you. And, I've really learned that I enjoy writing. I really enjoy creating graphics. And this has given me, a way to really use my creative side much more than I had imagined, and much more than I've been able to in my traditional role as a dietitian. So I'm like super excited to just see how this all keeps developing month after month, and then, eventually year after year.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for the update. And I totally agree with you about the social media. I see so many dietitians put out this amazing content on social media. I'm like, that should be a blog post. People should be able to find this again and again. But the way news feeds work is it's like, here today, gone tomorrow, unless someone's going to, sometimes, we go and we'll stalk someone's page and read some information. But for the most part, that information is pretty much gone. Yeah. Where if it's on a website, that same content on a website, probably a little beefier than a blog post, but that is something that people can find every day. If it's, if we use search engine optimization, all the strategies. So I love that you're able to see like, oh man, I'm like, I could actually take what I'm doing and actually like grow more streams of income and make more impact, reach more people and make more money. So yeah, I'm just so excited to watch your journey. Yeah. So my final question, I always like ending the podcast with some actionable items. So what action items would you recommend for the dietitians who are listening, who are interested in either getting into direct sales and or selling supplements?
All right. So, first, I think you need to be open-minded about direct sales, network marketing, whatever you want to call it, and consider that it can be done in a much more organic and non-salesy way than what you may have experienced in the past. So, Amare in particular teaches attraction marketing, which is basically you are sharing your story or sharing information and people reach out to you, which is what I've done. I have never, 0 times have I reached out to anyone as a cold call. So first, I think, you just need to be open-minded. Second, I think, this is kind of recapping what we said before, is determine what interests you, what you're passionate about, and then I would find a company that aligns with your values and your goals. So, for example, Amare aligns very closely with my values, so it was a great fit for me. The values of Amare are love, integrity, innovation, humility, and service. The products are evidence-based and supported in the literature. So to me, it was a perfect fit for me. And for someone else, they may find another company that is that same perfect fit for them. Like we said earlier, there's so many different opportunities. And third, I would evaluate the compensation plan. I would compare it to other companies in the field and make a smart business choice, because it is a business. It's not a hobby. Yep. So you want to make sure that you are getting adequately reimbursed for the time that you're putting into it. So for me, from a profitability standpoint, Amare is currently one of the best affiliate and direct sales relationships that's available at this time, especially in this space. So those are the 3 things I can think of right off the top of my head that would be action items for anyone that's listening. And I would be happy to speak with anyone about my experience with direct sales or Amare. Anyone that's interested, I'd be happy to chat with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This was very helpful and very informative, and it was so fun chatting with you. So can you let people know where they can find you online?
Sure. And thank you so much, Katie, for asking me to do this. I really appreciate it, and it's been great. Yeah. So on Instagram, it's Angela Lago Nutrition, and Facebook's more of a combination of personal and business, is Angela Lewis Lago. And then I have my blog and my website that is angelalagonutrition.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much.
Yes, thank you, Katie.
You guys, isn't Angela great? So Angela was in the first cohort of our Blogging Accelerator program. We recently launched our 5th cohort in July of 2021. But here's the thing, guys, you can join the program at any time. The Blogging Accelerator Program is a self-paced program that you do on your own speed, but it ties in live Q&A calls and our online Facebook community. So if at any time you want to join the Blogging Accelerator Program, go to my website, dietitiansidehustle.com, click on the About drop-down, and you'll see Blogging Program. You can go there, learn all about the program, get signed up, or if you're kind of on the fence, like, is this the best fit for me? From there, you can apply for a free 15-minute strategy session with me, and we can hop on a call and discuss, is this the best fit for you? So yeah, go check out the program. I would love to have you in my Blogging Accelerator program. Bye, guys.